Pro Serv presents Techniques for Identifying Needed Service, putting the advisor in Service Advisor. Good morning, Bob. What brings you in so early?
I'd like to talk to you about identifying needed customer service. I know it's a big part of my job, and the customers expect it, but it's always been tough for me. It's one thing to take care of each customer's primary problem with their vehicle. That can be difficult enough at times. It's another to identify any additional service needs. I'd like your help on this. Maybe you can give me some tips.
Be glad to. Give me a few minutes to take care of some paperwork, and then we'll discuss it.
There must be a way I can bring all the service needs to the attention of the customer.
Psst. Excuse me. I think I can help.
What? Wait a minute. Who said that?
I'm over here, Bob. Name's Pat Pro. I only make myself visible to Chevrolet service advisors. I guess you could say my main function is to advise the advisor. I couldn't help but catch your conversation with a service manager. Bob, it's good to know you're concerned about giving each customer complete service. You know, when you think about it, you're the key man in this dealership. Once a customer has purchased a car, the name of the game is service, and you represent service to each and every customer that has a service need. In a sense, you're a salesman. Think of it this way. Each customer in this dealership spends about an hour with his salesman. But once he purchases a vehicle, he'll spend much of the next 2 or more years with the service department. If the customers are satisfied with the service department, they'll come back for future service, and chances are they'll buy their next car from your dealership. No doubt about it, you've got quite a job to perform. That's why they call you a service advisor. As the name implies, you're an advisor, not just a write-up person. You must advise the customers on all their service needs and point out the advantages of having the service work done.
Hold on a second. Hey, I agree with you 100%. Let's face it, though, with the volume of service business this dealership performs, I can't give every customer that kind of attention.
Hear me out. Sure, it's difficult, but that's why I'm here, to show you a simple technique for spotting additional customer service needs. A procedure you can use for all vehicles brought into the dealership.
Okay, Pat, you win. What's your plan?
Before I show you the procedure, there's a few important facts to always keep in mind. First of all, take care of the customer's primary complaint first, including all warranty work, before discussing any additional needed service items. Second, make sure you're aware of shop work load status to find out if the additional service can be taken care of. And third, don't hard sell customers on service. You're likely to turn them off to any kind of service, now or in the future. Okay, Bob, let's get started. Why don't we walk around that Chevette over there?
Hey, Pat, we don't have time to take a walk.
That's the point, Bob. Once you see what I'm up to, you'll take the time to walk around every car that comes into this place. Okay, Bob, it's important to observe and listen from the time a car enters your dealership to make this procedure work. For example, by observing the vehicle as it enters the right-up lane, you might catch items like unusual tire wear or damaged headlamp, while careful listening can clue you in on all kinds of potential performance problems. Make a mental note of things you notice, and remember to concentrate on the customer's primary request first. Now, let's begin the systematic process with an inside inspection. Again, keep your eyes and ears open and make a mental note of your observations. Checking the vehicle's mileage will allow you to make a visual inside inspection of the passenger compartment. While inside the car, pop the hood release. You'll see why later. Also, don't forget to check out that mileage lube sticker on the door. Doing so will tell you when they last had service work done. Okay, next walk around to the back of the car and record the license number on the repair order. This walk-around will allow you to inspect such items as paint, trim, and body damage. Continue the walk-around to the front of the vehicle. Since you've already popped the hood, you can easily perform an open hood inspection. This inspection can reveal many needed service items. For example, notice dust on hoses, electrical wires, and other components. This may tip you off to recent service. By the way, while you're making these inspection checks, make sure to inspect all the safety items. Your customers will appreciate the personal concern you've shown for their well-being.
Hey, not bad. I can totally inspect the car in a matter of a few minutes. Thanks, Pat. You've really helped.
Hey, wait a minute. I know you're anxious to try out the procedure, but I'm not quite through. Before you conclude the process, check the customer service file. Knowing the service history of the car will also help you identify service needs and can help to diagnose your customer's current problem. Once you've completed this simple procedure, have taken care of your customer's primary service need, and are sure of your shop status, bring your observations to the attention of your customer, and you're all set.
Thanks, Pat. I'm sure the system will work.
There's a whole lot more to understand, Bob. Your service manager's on his way back to see you. He'll fill you in on all the details. Good luck.
Bob, I appreciate your concern for identifying needed service for your customers. No doubt about it, it's an important part of any service operation. For one thing, the volume of service business increases for the dealership, and believe me, a strong dealership reflects on all the people working for it. But above all, identifying needed service satisfies the customer's objective of having a safe, reliable, economic, well-maintained vehicle. If you can accomplish this goal for every customer, you'll establish both your personal reputation and credibility and that of your dealership. Like anything else, Bob, it takes preparation and a personal commitment to be successful in our business. In the case of identifying needed service, you must, first, know how to deal with people effectively. Second, have knowledge of what is being sold. And third, develop a commitment to identify needed service. Let's explore each of these points. Bob, since you're in a position of communicating directly with the customer as well as personnel within the dealership, you must first learn to deal with all types of people in all types of situations.
Boy, that sure can be tough sometimes. Some of those angry customers are difficult to work with.
Why don't you review all the Pro Serv units? Remember, your Pro Serv program is a library that's meant to be studied start to finish. It begins with the basics and then goes on to cover all aspects of your job. Pay particular attention to the program on Basic Customer Relations 2, handling anger, dissatisfaction, confusion. It's so important to get your customer in a positive service mood. Teamwork within the dealership is also important. Keep those communications lines open between yourself, the dispatcher, and the technician. They're important to you. For instance, the technician might spot a service need you missed. If the communications lines are open, the technician would relay this information to you, and you in turn would notify the customer. Also, since shop status is so important for taking care of the needed service, you should keep in close contact with the dispatcher.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That customer sure would be angry if I convinced him service was needed and he couldn't get the work done.
That's why checking the shop status is so important, Bob. Nobody wants a dissatisfied customer. Second, you must have knowledge of your products and of their specific service needs. For instance, keep yourself informed and up to date on which operations and basic procedures are required at specific maintenance intervals. Also, make sure you understand and refer to the vehicle maintenance schedules. You must recognize when service is needed on all the vehicles you deal with. And third, be committed to identifying needed service. I can see that you are, Bob, but remember that commitment begins the moment the vehicle enters the dealership and doesn't end until all the follow-up activities have been carried out. Commitment, communications, and knowledge are your keys to customer satisfaction.
I sure understand why all this preparation is necessary, but how do I approach the customer with the needed service items?
Well, Bob, it's one thing to identify needed service. It's yet another to convince the customer. The fact that your customers bring their cars into the dealership shows the importance they place in having their vehicles in top running condition. And that's why it's important we address all their service needs. They expect it. But before you consider any additional service needs, there are 3 things you must remember. First, always take care of the customer's primary complaint first, including all warranty work. Second, the customer must be in a positive service mood. And third, make sure the shop can handle the service work. Once these conditions are met, you can approach the customer with the additional service requirements. Bob, don't even consider what I call the hard sell approach. No one wants service shoved down their throat. Pressure selling techniques often alienate the customer, making them uncomfortable and unresponsive. The only thing you'll get from the hard sell is a lost customer. Go with the suggestive selling approach instead. This method allows the customer to make the repair decision.
Oh yeah, I get you. Let's see, I could use a question like, Mrs. Brown, your car has gone over 15,000 miles. Your vehicle maintenance schedule indicates that it's time to take care of a few service items. You should plan to have them taken care of before too long.
Right, Bob. Posing the question in that way enables the customer to make the decision. You've brought the situation to her attention. She doesn't feel pressed, and chances are she'll take care of the service needs immediately. Before we close discussion on the suggestive selling approach, keep one fact clear in your mind, Bob. Your customers want to know the service needs of their vehicles. If potential problems are not defined, your customers will more than likely hold you responsible for not letting them know the problem existed.
I know what you mean. No one likes to drive out of a service department only to discover they've got more problems.
Okay, Bob. Now that you know how to prepare yourself and how to approach the customer, there's one final important step. That is, you must learn how to identify the needed service. There are several techniques you can use to do this. Not all of them apply to every situation, but I think you'll find them effective.
Before I identify this needed service, I've got to remember to take care of the customer's primary complaint and warranty work first, and check the shop status.
Right on, Bob. Now, let's go through the inspection process step by step. By the way, you'll see that there are a great many specific points to check. Don't try to memorize all of them now. I'll get you a Pro Serv booklet later which spells out all of these items. One of the important tools for identifying needed service is your ability to listen. Keep your ears tuned up, when possible, for distinctive noises when the car enters the service area. Noises that might indicate a potential problem with the water pump, air conditioning clutch, brakes, throwout bearing, tappets, engine, power steering pump, or vacuum system. Observation is another important tool. I think you'll find the inspection process an excellent way of identifying service. First, make an inside inspection. Check the mileage, floor mats, brake pedal for wear, dash lights, lube sticker, trim, dome lights, accessories, seat belts, and finally, check for low brake pedal. Pay particular attention to safety items, such as a low brake pedal or seat belts, as you're making these inspections. Look out for the safety of your customers. They'll be grateful. While you're inside the vehicle, pop the hood. Once you've completed your inside inspection, walk around the vehicle and be on the lookout for body damage, tire wear, indications of alignment or balance problems, glass breakage, broken lamp lenses, damage to paint trim and bright metal, rust problems, bad shocks, faulty wipers.
Yeah, I could do all this while I'm checking out the license number.
Good idea, Bob. When you've completed the walk-around, conduct a hoods-up inspection. That's why I popped the hood earlier. Make a check of valve cover or other leaks, oil level, air filter, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, brake fluid, wiring, coolant leakages around clamps, hoses, PCV valve, belts, washer fluid, battery for water level on regular battery, or the test indicator on Freedom model, coolant antifreeze level, and the condition of the battery terminals. Also, check out the general condition of the engine. For instance, heavy dust on the air filter, hoses, and other components might indicate an unserviced engine. When you complete all the inspections, make sure to check the customer service file. The file will contain records of previous vehicle problems and the maintenance history of the car. This information will prove a valuable aid for you in identifying needed service. Bob, once you get the procedure down, I think you'll find this process most effective.
I can't wait to get going on it. You've given me a lot to think about.
Hold on a second, I'm not quite through. There are several other ways of both identifying needed service and approaching the customer with your suggestions. For instance, you can question your customer. As you know, questioning your customer is important for finding out the probable cause of their immediate vehicle problem. Carry the process one step further. A simple question like, "Have you noticed anything else?" might reveal additional service needs. Diagnosis also plays a role in identifying service needs. For instance, a customer might ask to have their battery replaced because the car won't start, but the battery might be only a symptom of the problem.
Yeah, I get you. I should offer to check it out. I'd hate to sell the customer a new battery, only to have him come back with the same won't start problem.
You got it, Bob. Bob, don't lose sight of the fact that this dealership is involved in the Chevrolet Service Sales Merchandising Program. You should remind your customers of the offers, particularly if their vehicle is approaching a maintenance interval and needed service is offered on special. That's why they let us know a month in advance what Service of the Month items will be featured. That way we can all prepare ourselves as well as our customers for upcoming promotions. Also, you can identify service needs by the season of the year. For instance, recommend air conditioning system service in the spring to get ready for the summer, and a cooling system inspection and flush in the fall to get ready for the winter.
Or during the vacation season. No one wants their car to give them trouble while on vacation. That could mean a wheel balance, bearing pack, alignment or fluid checks, just to name a few possibilities.
Another suggestive service method is what I call the one-stop service approach. Encourage your customers to take care of all the possible service needs to avoid unnecessary trips to the service department.
What if the customer hesitates at the additional costs involved?
Well, Bob, it's always a good practice to explain to your customers exactly what service benefits they get for their money. Benefits they might not get at another service center. Things like the latest equipment, certified technicians, genuine GM parts, covered by warranty for 90 days or 4,000 miles on parts and labor, car line experience. Also, carefully explain to your customers the problems that could result if repair or service is neglected. Bob, I realize that sometimes it's tough to identify service needs during peak service periods. That's why I stressed teamwork earlier. Our technician and quality inspector should also look for additional service items when repairing the car. Sometimes our quality inspector, technician, or shop foreman will discover needed service. Then it's your job to follow through on their findings.
I see what you mean. It's up to me to verify the need, price out the additional cost, and contact the customer for authorization to proceed.
Exactly. You can also identify the future needs of your customer. Let's face it, you won't always convince your customers that they should take care of their service needs immediately. However, you've opened the door for future service business. You've brought the situation to the attention of the customer, and when they're ready for service, chances are they'll come back to the dealership to have it done. In fact, it would be a good idea to pass out your business cards, Bob, so they'll come back to you when they need servicing. Also, stress to your customers the importance of keeping their cars maintained in accordance with the GM recommended maintenance schedule. Keeping your customers knowledgeable about possible future service requirements will mean future business.
I've got another possibility. If a customer is close to a maintenance interval and we're planning a service promotion that will cover their service needs, I'll tell them to watch for the special and to take advantage of the offer.
You're on the right track. Well, that should cover the subject. Have you got any questions?
No, I'm just anxious to get started. Thanks. Yeah, and thank you, Pat. You really helped me out a great deal.
Don't mention it, Bob. Just remember to prepare yourself in advance. Use a suggestive selling approach. Familiarize yourself on the ways to identify needed service. Once you get the hang of that systematic car inspection procedure I explained earlier, you shouldn't have any problems. Best of luck, Bob. Before I go, I'd like you people out there to answer a couple of discussion questions. Number one of the ways you can prepare yourself to identify needed customer service is to A, develop skills to hard sell your customer. B, know how to deal with people effectively. C, learn how to oversell your customers without them knowing it. D, both B and C. Question number 2. You should identify additional needed customer service before you take care of the customer's primary complaint. A, true, B, false. The answer to question 1 is B. One of the ways you can prepare yourself to identify needed customer service is to know how to deal with people effectively. The answer to question 2 is false. Take care of your customer's primary vehicle complaint first before you identify additional customer service needs. This concludes our program on the techniques for identifying needed service, putting the advisor in Service Advisor. Your next Pro Serv will consider customer follow-up activities. The program will focus on procedures you, as Service Advisor, can utilize to ensure a standard of quality in all service work performed. Quality that leads to customer satisfaction and repeat business.
Pro Serv presents Customer Follow-Up.
Betty, the car's acting up again. Can you give me a ride into work this morning?
Sure thing. But Joan, you really should take care of that problem once and for all.
Believe me, I've tried. They can't seem to fix it right. What a headache. I spend half my time in that shop.
Let's talk about it on the way into work. As I was saying, Joan, take your car down to Hometown Chevrolet. They really seem to care. It's never been a hassle for me. They have a system set up to ensure that every car is fixed right the first time. It's really something. First of all, they treat me with courtesy. Their service advisors understand how important my car is to me, so I don't get any kind of a runaround. I really appreciate that friendly hello and a genuine thank you for bringing my car into their service department. You know, one of their service people even calls me at the house following service to make sure everything is okay. The service people at Hometown seem to double-check everything during service. They even have a quality inspector who tests all repairs to make sure the replaced parts work according to the specified standard. And I never have those last-minute problems, like being charged for more than the original estimate, or having to wait because it took longer to repair my car than the original time promised. If a problem should develop with time or cost, the service advisor always calls me right away so I'm aware of the change. Also, when I pick up my car, it's as clean as when I brought it in. There's no grease or oil smeared on the hood or on the carpeting.
Wow, that's a far cry from the station I take my car into. They could care less about me or my car. I'm going to give Hometown Chevrolet a call. At this point, I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
When you call, they'll more than likely refer you to a service advisor. He seems to be the spark plug of what I like to call their customer satisfaction system. They probably have another name for it, but I know one thing for sure. I'm one satisfied customer. I think you'll be pleased with the service you'll...
Whether you call it a customer satisfaction system or simply customer follow-up, the service department goals are the same: to provide total customer satisfaction by increasing customer convenience in reducing comebacks and maintaining a high-quality work standard. To fulfill these goals, it takes a conscious commitment on the part of all service department personnel to continually monitor service quality. Customer follow-up is what this Pro Serv unit is all about. One fact will become clear as the program develops. You, as a service advisor, have a key role to perform in customer follow-up. So much so that a self-evaluation service advisor checklist is included in the reference booklet. With the aid of the checklist, you can analyze your own customer follow-up effectiveness. However, an effective follow-up program is not the work of any one individual. It is a service department team effort. And as we've stressed in previous Pro Servs, communications plays an extremely important role in any team effort. If a breakdown in communications occurs, the follow-up effort will suffer. At the center of this communication system is the service advisor. You're often the only communications link with the customer, and that makes you an important part of any follow-up activity. As you will see later in the program, all service department follow-up activities involve the service advisor to some extent. It takes a combination of you, the service advisor, working with the customer and the dealership service team to pave the way for a successful follow-up program. And that successful follow-up effort means customer satisfaction, which in turn means repeat service business. As we saw in the opening sequence, a satisfied customer will recommend the service department to friends and family, and to those interested in that new car purchase. Okay, let's take a look at what goes into an effective follow-up program. Customer follow-up is a three-phase process. Phase 1 concerns pre-service activities. Phase 2 involves follow-up during service. And Phase 3 deals with post-service follow-up activities. It's important to understand that although we've divided the process into three parts for illustration purposes, in reality, one phase doesn't end and the other begin. Rather, the three parts are a constant, continuous process. Let's take a look at what's involved in Phase 1. Pre-service follow-up concerns the activities performed prior to the actual repair of the vehicle. This phase involves following up on 1. Current service information, 2. Ways to identify needed service items, and 3. Pre-service scheduling. The first two elements in this phase are good professional follow-up practices for the service advisor. They're both good ways you can stay on top of service trends and developments. For instance, by keeping up to date on current service information, you'll be able to use that valuable information with the customer at the write-up station to solve many vehicle problems. Also, be familiar with the Chevrolet dealer product recall campaigns that are current for all the Chevrolet models, and keep yourself up to date on all the new developments in service technology by reading the available service publications. Knowing this service information will give the customer confidence in your ability to get the job done effectively the first time. Refer to ProTech Program PT 378-7, Chevrolet Service Literature and Training, for more on what information is available to you and how to best use it. Likewise, by following up on the ways to identify needed service items, you'll be prepared in advance to present your suggestions to the customer. There are two ways you can personally follow up in this regard. First of all, be familiar with the service specials that will be offered for the coming month, like those featured in the passenger car Service of the Month mailings that are part of the Chevrolet Service Sales Merchandising Program. If your customer's vehicle is approaching a maintenance interval or in need of service, you can bring the future specials to their attention. This approach to service was discussed in Pro Serv 7, Techniques for Identifying Needed Service. You should review the program. Second, use the customer service file. It's one of the best pre-service sources you have. Following up on the service history of the car will provide you with an excellent starting point for getting any current vehicle problems solved. The final part of Phase 1 concerns pre-service scheduling. This procedure becomes necessary when unavailable parts have to be ordered in advance of service. Let's look at a customer situation to illustrate the point. In our example, Mr. Brown has requested the replacement of a cracked instrument panel. His vehicle is under warranty. The customer-advisor conversation would go something like this.
Mr. Brown, before we can replace your instrument panel, we'll have to order the part for you.
Well, how long will it take?
I'll give the parts department a call and check it out for you.
Bob, George here. If I ordered an instrument panel for a 1979 Caprice, how long would it take to have it in stock?
Mr. Brown, we should have the part in about 1 week.
Okay, I'd like to place an order.
Mr. Brown, it should take about 1 week to get the part in. Once we receive it, we'll send you a postcard, and you can contact George to set up a service appointment.
In our example, the follow-up activity is mainly the function of the parts department. They place the order, follow up to make sure the part has been received, and send a postcard verifying that fact to the customer. However, as you could see, the advisor does have an active part in the transaction. The advisor made the initial contact with the customer, will make a return appointment, and ultimately will write up the repair order once the part is received. It would be a good idea to give the customer your business card so he can call you directly to set up an appointment. The service advisor also played an important communications role. When asked by the customer how long it would take to receive the part, he got the answer. The service advisor must also periodically check with the parts department on the status of the ordered part. A good way of following up on this process is to retain a copy of the parts order for your own personal reference. If you have to call the customer back, their telephone number is noted on the order. This customer action on your part would put you right in the middle of the follow-up function. In summary, then, the 3 pre-service procedures, following up on current service information, ways to identify needed service items, and pre-service scheduling, lay the groundwork for Phase 2, follow-up during service. The during service follow-up phase considers customer courtesy, following the repair in shop, interdepartmental contacts during service, customer telephone contact, quality checks, customer contact at delivery. During service follow-up might best be described as a system of checks and double checks to ensure that all repairs will be performed to a quality standard. A standard that means customer satisfaction and dealership credibility. The underlying theme for this follow-up phase must always be customer courtesy. Everyone in the service department must keep this important fact in mind because the customer will more than likely talk to several people while the car is being serviced. Courtesy will shape a positive impression of your service department. And courtesy begins with you, the service advisor, because you make that initial customer contact. Friendliness, your professional counsel, and the ability to be a sympathetic listener are extensions of that courtesy. Customer courtesy must also be a primary consideration of the dispatcher. It's usually his responsibility to follow the repair progress of the vehicle while it's in the service department. It could be the responsibility of the advisor in some dealerships. Regardless, the advisor should keep track of the repair status of his vehicles. The customer might call you or the dispatcher at any time for a service update. Following up on service repair ensures that you can respond to customer inquiries on exact nature of repair, that the car will be ready on time and priced within the estimate. This isn't always possible. At times, the unexpected will happen that will change both the time and cost factors. Perhaps the problem was incorrectly diagnosed, or an added service need was discovered. This is where interdepartmental contact follow-up comes into the picture. The technician who discovered the problem must follow up by making sure the dispatcher and advisor are aware of the problem and what has to be done to correct it. It is then the job of the dispatcher or advisor, depending on who is responsible for the action, to follow up by contacting the customer with the new information. Anytime there is new input from diagnosis or there has been a change in the time promised or in the preliminary cost estimate, the customer must be notified. This isn't only a courtesy, it's a necessity. You need that customer's okay if a new problem develops or the costs change. And if the time factor changes, the customer will more than likely have to alter their time and scheduling arrangements. Once the necessary repairs have been completed, the next follow-up activity takes place. A quality check of the vehicle. Usually this means a visual and performance check of the replaced or repaired part, and it could mean a road test of the vehicle. The quality check must answer the following questions. Have all repairs listed on the repair order been completed? Are all repairs or replaced parts functioning properly? Is the car as clean as it was when it first entered the dealership? If the answer is no to any of these questions, the job is unfinished, and the result will be customer dissatisfaction and a possible comeback like the comebacks experienced by the unhappy customer in our opening example. The quality check follow-up activity will more than likely eliminate any comeback situations, with the end result being satisfied service customers. These checks could be conducted by the shop foreman, service manager, assigned quality inspector, or the advisor, depending on dealership policy. The final during service follow-up activity concerns the customer contact at delivery. Usually the advisor or cashier will telephone the customer when service work has been completed. If the customer is satisfied with the service and billing, the cashier will be the sole customer contact. However, if a problem should develop which requires a technical explanation of the work performed and the cashier cannot answer the customer's questions, the service manager, shop foreman, and service advisor must be available to follow up on the problem. It's very important at this point to consider that your customer has probably waited all day to get the car fixed. Anything you do at delivery to help the customer will help you boost your service competence and image of your dealership. The usual procedure is for the cashier to bring the service advisor, service manager, or shop foreman into a discussion with the customer. If the technical problem still exists, the technician who worked on the vehicle might be called in by the advisor, shop foreman, or manager. A key point to remember is that the cashier should not try to explain any diagnosis involved in the necessary repairs. The cashier won't be equipped to do this, and the result will be a confused and angry customer. Whatever the procedure, the objective is the same: to answer all questions to the customer's satisfaction. The follow-up process doesn't end when the car is driven out of the dealership. Once the repair work has been completed to the customer's satisfaction, the third follow-up phase begins. The third phase, post-service follow-up, is a customer feedback system. It's a way of determining if the job was done to the customer's satisfaction the first time. Usually, someone in the dealership other than the advisor is charged with the responsibility of initiating the follow-up program and monitoring the results. A typical post-service follow-up device would ask the following questions. Were you greeted courteously and promptly? Was the car repaired within the cost estimate? Was your car ready in the time promised? Were you satisfied with the work we did on your car? Was your car as clean as it was when you brought it in? Would you return to our dealership for service? Do you have any suggestions that would help us improve our service? There are several possible ways of asking the customer these questions. For instance, the customer could be called. The telephone is the most personalized form of post-service follow-up. It's usually effective within 72 hours of service, while the quality of service performed is fresh in the customer's mind. It's possible during service write-up downtime for the advisor to make follow-up calls. It would be a good practice, particularly in service situations where major repairs were made. This would be a good customer courtesy consideration on your part. In addition to the telephone follow-up, there are other means that could be used. There is the direct mail method. This device is effective because by the time the letter arrives, the customer has had the time to form an opinion on the quality of work performed. Other ways include a suggestion box located in the service department or a questionnaire placed on the rear view mirror following service. Whatever system your dealership chooses, the objective is the same: to give the customer a chance to evaluate your service operation and work performed on the vehicle. In doing so, the dealership can tell if everyone is doing the job right. The dealership can also spot service problems or negative service trends that have to be corrected. You might ask at this point, all this information is well and good, but how does this relate to me, the service advisor? That's an easy question to answer. By keeping in touch with the results of these post-service follow-up activities, you can analyze your own work performance. You then can take the personal initiative of correcting the problems that relate to you. For instance, if a customer has a personal complaint concerning your job performance, you can correct the situation immediately by calling the customer and discussing the problem. Or if there is a reoccurring problem you were never really aware of, you can shift gears and put yourself on the right track, heading straight for customer satisfaction. Use the reference book and job aid card that are included with this program to help you perform this self-evaluation. Keep careful record of any comebacks or complaints for a 45-day period. By doing so, you'll be able to identify problem areas that need your immediate attention. Okay, now that you know the importance of the 3 follow-up phases, try answering a few questions. Question number 1. The best way of preparing for effective follow-up is to A. Stay on top of service trends and developments. B. Consult the customer service file. C. Develop skills for identifying needed service items. D. All of the above. E. Only A and B. Question number 2. The best way of making sure all repairs have been completed is to A. Ask the customer at delivery if everything is okay. B. Double check with the technician and dispatcher. C. Perform a quality inspection of the vehicle. D. Personally perform a road test on every vehicle. E. Both B and C. Question number 3. The telephone post-service follow-up procedure is most effective when employed within A. 8 hours, B. 72 hours, C. 1 week, D. 1 month. The answer to question number 1 is D. All of the above. The best way of preparing in advance for effective follow-up is to stay on top of service trends and developments, to consult the customer service file, and to develop skills for identifying needed service items. The answer to question number 2 is C. The best way of making sure all repairs have been completed is to perform a quality inspection of the vehicle. The answer to question number 3 is B. The telephone post-service follow-up procedure is most effective when employed within 72 hours. Again, keep in mind that the goals of pre-service, during service, and post-service follow-up activities are to provide total customer satisfaction by reducing comebacks and maintaining a high-quality work standard. To help you achieve your objective, remember to use the Self-Evaluation Service Advisor checklist from your reference booklet. When you accomplish these goals, you'll not only have satisfied customers, but they'll recommend your service department to others.
Good morning. My name is Joan Trainer. I'd like to set up an appointment for service. Your service department has been highly recommended by a friend. I've had a problem with my vehicle and no one seems to be able to fix it. Perhaps you can help.